everybody, this is Caitlin. We'll be doing problems 8A, found in homework 2. So we're going to be preparing a cash budget for January and February for Swifty Corporation. Here's all our given data. Gives us all our sales, purchases, salaries, and administrative expenses and selling expenses. They do give us a note that all sales and purchases are on account. Budgeted collections and disbursement data are given below, and all other expenses are paid in the month incurred, except for administrative expenses, which include $1,100 of depreciation per month. Gives us that budgeted collections in that other data section. And they have another note that the company's cash balance on January 1st is expected to be $47,700, and the company wants to maintain a minimum cash balance of $52,740. So let's get right into it and start putting in some values. So the first thing is we do have to put what time frame this is, and it's for the 2 months ending February 28th, 2017. The first thing we're given is the beginning cash balance. For January, they told us it is expected to be $47,700. And we don't know February's yet because we have to figure that out ourselves. Next, we're going to add in the cash receipts. First thing we're going to add in is collections from customers. For January, it was $331,700. Next, we'll add in notes receivable. For January, there was $18,800. Next, we'll put in sales of securities, which for January, for the month of January, there wasn't any sales of securities. We need to put in a 0 as to not leave any answers blank. And then we'll total up our receipts, which when you add those all up comes to $350,500. After that, we're going to add in that beginning cash balance to get total available cash, which when you add the $47,700, your total is $398,200. Next, we're going to subtract our cash disbursements. Our first cash disbursement is selling expenses. For January, that was $79,900. Next, I'll put in administrative expenses. Now this one was giving me a little bit of a hard time. I was originally just putting in the $70,600, but after going back through and getting it wrong, the reading reminds me that the problem notes that administrative expenses include this $1,100 of depreciation. And in the reading it says in our cash disbursements column that we do not include depreciation because it isn't a cash payment, it's just something that happens. So to make sure we get the right entry, we have to subtract that $1,100 of depreciation from our administrative expenses, which gives us, for the month of January, $69,500. Next, we'll do our dividends, which for the month of January, we had no dividends, no payment of dividends. Next, we'll do salaries. For the month of January, it was $361,500. And lastly, we'll put in purchases, which was $120,500 for the month of January. So now we're going to do total disbursements, which if you total up these 5 rows, we get $342,400 of total disbursements. And we're going to subtract this $342,400 from this $398,000, and that will give us our excess deficiency available after disbursements. Big fancy way of saying what's left after your expenses and disbursements, which after you subtract that out, you get $55,800. Next, we go into the financing columns. We're going to first put in our borrowings, which for January there was none. And then any repayments that the company might have had, which again for January there was none. And this gives us our ending cash balance of $55,800. And that was the end of January, so that is our beginning balance for February. And we'll go through and we'll do the same thing we did for our month of January on our February side, and we'll finish this out. So for the month of February, collections from customers was $378,000, $378,500. Notes receivable in February, there was none. Sales of securities, there was sales of securities in February of $6,000. We're going to total that up, which comes to $384,500. We're going to add that to our $55,800 to get $440,300 as our total available cash for the month of February before disbursements. Let's start putting those in. Our selling expenses for February was $86,700. It's administrative expenses. Again, we have to make sure we take out this $1,100 of depreciation. After we take that out, it is $71,900. For the month of February, we did pay $12,600 of dividends. And the salaries for February was $81,300, and our purchases was $131,700. Add those up, and your total disbursements comes to $395,400. And after you subtract that 395 from the 440, we get a total of $44,900 of excess. Now, at this point, we go to the financing. We have a total right now of $44,900. This says that they want to maintain a minimum cash balance of $52,740. So we need to get this $44,900 to that point. So the difference between that is $7,840. So they're going to borrow that much money to make sure that they maintain that balance of $52,740. And that's it. Sorry this was a little late, guys. Again, just trying to figure this problem out correctly for you guys to make sure it was right. And voila, it is. Just took a little bit of thinking. Hope this all makes sense. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. And I hope you guys have a fabulous week. Bye.